I think you make a good point there about the fact that languages, whichever language they are, English, French, Spanish, Italian,
Mm.
Cantonese, Korean, they all perform the same function. And in my view, I think that's where studying a language is different from studying linguistics. So
Hmm.
is studying a language the same as studying linguistics? Is there some overlap, or what's the situation there?
Well, I mean, I suppose I've come across people studying linguistics who, haven't who've come to linguistics another way, and so haven't really studied languages,
Mm,
foreign languages, as sort
mm,
of in the way that I studied French or whatever. Um, and so, I mean, there's a lot that can be said about English, um, but yeah, I feel like you're sort of you're missing some of the feel for the sort of scope of linguistics if you haven't actually learnt another language as
mm,
a foreign language and gone through that process of trying to sort of make sense of how people are doing this thing, communicating, thinking aloud, whatever you're doing with language that you know how to do, but you have to learn how to do it a different way. Um, and yeah, I guess and just that sort of connection with a language as a living thing
mm,
rather than, a purely abstract sort of entity, um, and just sort of examples on a page where, like, uh, where, in linguistics, you'll have like the sort of the orthography of the language that's being talked about. If it's in a Latin script or some sort of transliteration, then the sort of morphosyntactic analysis, and then the translation. And like, if uh, obviously the sort of range of languages that's talked about in the sort of modern linguistics literature, there's no way that person can be sort of conversant with, even a significant proportion of these languages. But, you know, if you're in this sort of mentality about language where it's just a sort of objective study, and you kind of mentally skip that first line
mm,
where, which is actually what the language says,
mm.
um, then I feel like you're missing something, and I feel like that's tempting to do if you don't have that sort of background in not necessarily studying languages in a sort of really sort of formal, high level sort of way, but at least some level of contact with other languages apart from your own sort of first or main language.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, because I remember that, the typical modern foreign languages classroom is quite different to the typical linguistics classroom. I mean, in linguistics, there aren't kind of, listening and writing activities, and, there's not like do this exercise. There's no role play or anything like that. So I think it's important to make a distinction between the fact that studying linguistics is not the same thing as studying a language. I mean, studying linguistics is not about memorizing verb endings, or maybe you would understand the concept of the verb endings, but it wouldn't be so much a case of I need to memorize all of these, let's say, Greek past, ancient Greek
No.
past tense inflections on verbs, right?